So we're going to be looking at proving algebraically that this recurring decimal, this never-ending decimal, is equal to 5/9. To begin with, we need to remember what the recurring decimal actually means, and that just means that this 5 is repeated infinitely, so forever. We use the dot above the 5 to show that. So because it's asked for this to be proved algebraically, we need to start with x equals to our 0.5. We can then multiply this by 10 to get 5.5 recurring. So now, if we subtract 10x from this 1x, we would be left with 9x, and you will notice that these recurring parts cancel each other out. So actually, we would have 9x is equal to 5. We would then rearrange it to work out x by dividing both sides by 9, and you have proved it algebraically. So question 2, a little bit trickier, but the same start. So we start with 0.72. We again multiply by 10x. You will notice here that our recurring parts do not line up. So therefore, we cross that one out and we work out 100x. That's equal to 72.72, and this time you'll notice that our recurring parts do line up. So therefore we need to subtract our 100x from our 1x. That leaves us with 99x on the left hand side and 72 on the right hand side. We then divide both sides by 99. If you're lucky in your exam, it will give you an answer to work towards. So here you'll notice that our answer doesn't look like that yet. However, if we divide both top and bottom by 9, that'll leave us with 8/11, and it proves our answer. Our next question, we've got x is equal to 0.004. If your reoccurring part is not next to your decimal, this isn't your starting position. So what we're going to do straight away is multiply our decimal by 100. That leaves us with 0.4 recurring. So now I'm going to cross out my original one because we've just worked out our starting point, and that's 100x because we've got a reoccurring decimal lined up to our decimal place. Now we're going to times by 10 again, so that means it's going to be 1000x, and that's equal to 4.4 recurring. We're going to subtract these. 1000 take away 100 is 900x. 4 take away 0 is 4, remembering that our recurring parts cancelled each other out. We can now divide by 900 to get our final answer. Just double check, is it fully simplified? No, we can divide top and bottom by 2. That leaves us with 2/450. Again, we can divide by 2 and we get 1/125. Our next question, again getting slightly more complicated. Our first step remains the same. You will notice that this isn't our starting position because our reoccurring parts are not next to our decimal place. So we are going to, first of all, times by 10 and get rid of that original line. Now we're going to times by 10 again. That will mean we've got 100x, and that is equal to this 14.242. Again, you'll notice our decimals do not line up, so we get rid of that one. Let's multiply by 10 again, so we get 1000x this time. That is equal to 142.42 recurring. This time they do line up, so now we can subtract our answers. 1000 take away 10 is 990x. 142 subtract 1 is 141, and we can see our recurring parts cancel each other out. We now just write this as a fraction, and we would have 141 divided or over 990. So here we can see that we could divide, and there is a hint in the question, it wants it in its simplest form, by 3. So you do 141 divided by 3 and you get 47 over 330. So question 5. Again, we're going to start with 0.56. Our reoccurring part isn't lined up to our decimal, so to begin with, we're going to times by 10, and this is our starting position. Now if we multiply by 10 again, you'd have 100x, and that is equal to 56.6 recurring. Our decimals line up, so therefore our recurring parts would cancel out, and we subtract, so we have 90x is equal to 51. 56 take away 5 is 51. We then work out what x is by dividing by 90, and we check whether we can simplify. Again, we can divide top and bottom by 3, and that's equal to 17 over 30. So our next question, again, x equals 0.034. We're going to times by 10, so our recurring parts are lined up next to our decimal, and this is our starting position. We're going to times by 10 again. You'll notice our recurring parts don't line up, so we're going to times by 10 again, and this time they do line up. So now we're going to subtract our 1000x from our 10x to get 990x. 34 take away 0 is 34, and our decimals cancel each other out. We now divide through by 990, and we simplify. We can halve both top and bottom, that leaves us with 17 over 495.